one of them is this nicotine-free generation bylaw, and cities and towns are starting to pass or try to pass. It's being challenged in court. They want to refuse. A city or town wants to refuse to sell any or all tobacco and nicotine products to anyone born after January 1st, 2003, including cigars, chewing tobacco, nicotine pouches, and gum, which people use to quit smoking and other products. This is just nuts. I mean, first they banned menthol cigarettes. Only state in the union that bans menthol cigarettes, Massachusetts, and now they want to stop selling, as if somebody who can't buy a pack of smokes in Brookline isn't going to drive to Newton or more likely into the city of Boston to do it. So joining us now on the line to talk about this, and they're trying to stop it, is the executive director of the New England Convenience Store and Energy Marketers Association, Peter Brennan. And he's been a state house aide over the years and run his own private law practice. And Peter Brennan, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show. And what cities and towns have this in effect, or have they not gone into effect yet?
Hey, Howie, Peter Brennan here. Thank you so much for having me. The only one that's in effect currently is Brookline. The bylaw they passed bans anybody born after 1999 from buying any type of nicotine product within their borders.
After 1990, so if you're 23 years old, you can't buy a Marlboro or a blunt in Brookline.
Exactly, yeah. And the way the proponents and the advocates try to frame this ridiculous policy is that it's anti-youth smoking. We don't want the kids to smoke. And hey, we don't want the kids to smoke either. That's why we card everybody that comes to our stores. My organization represents the 7,000 convenience stores in New England, over 3,000 in Massachusetts. We agree. Don't want kids to smoke, don't want kids to use nicotine. It's 21 plus. So why do you think you need another bylaw on top of that basically says nicotine is now banned here, but does so in an incremental and kind of backdoor way so that nobody currently that can buy nicotine products will ever be able to buy them in the town? It's silly.
It's like banning the menthol cigarettes. I mean, every year they issue the per capita smoking chart for the United States. New Hampshire's always number one. And it's not because more people smoke in New Hampshire. It's because New Hampshire has lower taxes than the surrounding states. And now, if you're in Massachusetts, New Hampshire is the easiest state to drive to in most parts of the state to get menthol cigarettes. This is just crazy. What I mean, do they not understand the lessons of prohibition, Peter Brennan?
I mean, pretty much that's exactly it, Howie. They don't. It makes them feel good to be able to ban something as they're allowing every other once illegal product to become legal. You can get every flavor of marijuana you want.
Right.
You can't get flavored tobacco or nicotine products in Massachusetts anymore because we passed a law that went into effect in June of 2020 that says exactly that. You can't buy any type of flavored nicotine product. What you can do is go right over the border to New Hampshire or Rhode Island or Connecticut and purchase the products there. So, it hasn't worked. The tax stamp data will show that it hasn't worked. However, cities and towns are now, the advocates are pursuing this at the local level because they think they can get to the boards of health, they can get to the boards of selectmen and try to pass it that way. And yeah, it's a ridiculous policy. And, I think people just aren't really aware of the civil liberties this infringes on, and they're not really aware of this policy and what's going on.
Right. Well, I bet down here in Florida where I am right now, there's a bill has just been introduced to cut back on the potency of marijuana. Because it's not good for kids to be smoking a lot of dope, especially this really strong stuff. Now, and I'm sure if you tried that in Massachusetts, there would be this outcry. How dare you tell me I can't smoke super primo weed? But I would argue that super primo weed is worse for young people than smoking cigarettes or a tobacco product, at least for a few years. I mean, and you're right. So now you can smoke pot. You can buy pot legally in Brookline, and they do have the import. Like I know they got at least one in Brookline Village, a pot shop. You can buy pot if you're 21 in Brookline, but you can't buy Marlboros. That's the reality, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it depends. If you're born after a certain date, you can't buy any type of nicotine product in Brookline. Yes, and they do have NEDA, New England Treatment Access, is I believe still the highest grossing marijuana shop in the state in Brookline.
And another thing too, they just did away not that long ago within living memory, easy living memory. They did away with blue laws, right? So you could, you used to not be able to buy alcohol on Sundays, and they thought that was ridiculous, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just they're correcting mistakes of the past and then creating new mistakes on top of that. And listen, again, at our stores, we card everybody. Nobody that's under 21 can purchase a nicotine product. However, we do feel that it's a adult's right to be able to purchase these products if they so choose. So now you're going to have situations in Brookline where a 40-year-old man can't buy a cigar and go to the golf course because some crazy bylaw says that there's no safe age at which you can ever smoke or do any type of nicotine product. But you can go down the street and buy whatever flavor of marijuana you want. You can pick up a bottle of vodka. You can, there could be a safe injection site in Boston where you can do heroin. But nicotine's the big evil thing that needs to be banned.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the safe injection sites. The Globe just had a big puff piece on safe injection sites. So heroin, okay. Cigarettes, no. So you guys have appealed this, or someone has appealed this to the SJC to try to get the Brookline ban overturned. How does that stand right now? That challenge.
Well, it's under review at the SJC. They heard the case. They took it. Lower court ruled against it, and it's several retailers from Brookline that were impacted by the bylaw. They challenged it. The SJC grabbed it. They said there's certainly a constitutional issue here. They've been reviewing it for several months. We hope they come back with a good decision that puts an end to this nonsense. But in the meantime, several other cities and towns are looking at it. Malden just had a hearing in late January. Wakefield, Stoneham, Melrose, their boards of health have been considering it. So it's spreading, and yeah, it's a ridiculous policy. Adults should be able to decide what they want to consume, and just to single out nicotine in all forms, not just smoking cigarettes, which agreed, we don't want kids to do, but everything. You said it, pouches, dip, vapes, things that people use to quit smoking cigarettes are also banned.
Right. And I guess vapes aren't good for you, but they're better for you than smoking cigarettes, smoking tobacco, right? And so, but they don't want you to have that option either.
No, they don't want you to have any options when it comes to nicotine. They say the advocates have said it's not safe to do at any age, and I just don't know if the science backs that up.
There's a lot of things it's not safe to do, but again. We are adults, and we have the right to do what we choose to do we not? I mean, isn't that all our bodies, ourselves? Doesn't that include our lungs?
One would think, Howie.
Oh, boy. Where can people go to find out more about this nonsense?
Well, we have a website going. It's www.nonfg.com. That's nonfg.com, no nicotine free generation, because that's the name that they put on this policy. For a short time, New Zealand had enacted it countrywide, and then they had a change in the presidency, and pretty much the first thing they did was, amend that law so that it's no longer in effect, because they knew it didn't make sense, popular outcry. People woke up. And I think people around here need to wake up and say, that's maybe a step too far. That's a little bit ridiculous.
First the nicotine-free generation, and then the freedom-free generation. That's what they're really aiming for. First they came for my Newports, and I didn't say anything. Then they came for my vapes, and I didn't say anything. Where does it end? Peter Brennan, Executive Director of the New England Convenience Store and Energy Marketers Association, please let us know when the SJC decision comes down. I hope, keep my fingers crossed. This is ridiculous. I appreciate you being with us. 844